The Perimeter with Adam Morrison is brought to you by our official title sponsor, Mercedes-Benz of Spokane. Experience the best or nothing at Mercedes-Benz of Spokane with Dan Crowley and his exceptional team. They're located in beautiful Liberty Lake and is a local family-owned dealership under Gee Automotive. Their staff prides itself on a personal and memorable experience from service to sales and will have you leaving the dealership feeling satisfied with a smile on your face all the way down the road. Back-to-back winners of the Best Silver Laurel Award receive invoice pricing on any new Mercedes-Benz in stock when you come in and mention the Perimeter podcast. You can check out all their available inventory at SpokaneMercedes.com, as well as stay up to date on all things Mercedes-Benz via their Facebook and Instagram pages. Call them at 509-455-9100 to schedule your Mercedes test drive today. Welcome to the Perimeter with myself, Adam Morrison. We have the one and only Corey Kispert, now the former Gonzaga basketball player, first-team All-American, WCC Player of the Year, Julius Erving Award, and two-time West Coast Conference first team. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that covers it.
You got everything?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's great to be here.
So let's get started. Your career's obviously over, 4-year player. What's your thoughts going into the draft? I mean, obviously, I'm not going to ask you, what team do you want to go to and all that crap, you know what I'm saying? But like,
Yeah, you've been there.
yeah, exactly. How do you feel, just the excitement level? Have you decompressed a little bit? Because what are you, a week out from the Final Four? About that 10 days, something like that?
8 days from the championship game, I think.
Yeah. So how do you feel, mentally, and then talk about the draft a little bit, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I mean, I'm decompressed. It's I'm in a good spot mentally. I kind of had prepared for – I mean, I knew we were going to make a run in the tournament no matter where we ended up, but I had prepared to kind of have it be like my last, curtain call, whatever that was. And so when the buzzer sounded, I mean, I was in a really good spot. It obviously sucked and it stung. I mean, never feels good to lose, especially on a stage like that. But, I was ready to go and I felt at peace with the whole thing. And right now it's just all excitement, man. Like just thinking about, 4 months from now, I have no idea where in the country I'll be living, where I'll be staying, who my teammates will be. And I'm at a stage of life where I'm ready for that. So I'm ready to be mobile and it's really, really exciting.
Who'd you hire as agent?
I'm with Priority, Mark Bartlestein.
Bartlestein, that was my guy. So Mark will take care of you. It's funny, you'll laugh. Every white guy in the NBA is Mark Bartlestein. It did surprise me that you said Mark Bartlestein, but Mark was good. He's got great connections. He'll take care of you. Try to get him down on his percentage for your endorsements. That's the only advice I'm going to give you back. Okay. And you'll figure it out once you get your first invoice and just say, hey, let's cut this down a little bit. He has a little bit of wiggle room. Okay.
I mean, he's got the pull, but thank you for the advice.
Yeah.
So clueless.
Mark's great. He's a good guy based out of Chicago. I might actually try to get him on. He's got some great stories. He's been in business forever. So let's go over the Final Four. Okay, that's what everybody's going to want to talk about a little bit. And, I covered the game, so obviously I was there live. And UCLA game, okay, one of the all-time classics. Everybody knows that. Play after play after play was made. What do you think was like the biggest play in the game besides Jalen's 3? Was it your putback? When was your putback?
That was OT, like 2 minutes left to go.
It was a weak side. You pinned the guy on the backside on the block. It was perfect. You got
board.
Yeah, you
snuck in right at the last minute.
Yep, you got there. Or was it Drew's charge was crazy?
Yep.
To have the nuts to do that is wild. Because it's easy for a ref to just going that way. They want to make that call.
Yeah, they love it.
Or they don't call anything, a weird play, a guy falls down, it comes up short, kind of like the OT Truzang. You know what I'm saying? It's just there's so many things instead of just trying to wall up and jump. Then I thought Andrew's 3 was fantastic. So what do you think was the biggest, momentum changer in that game?
Honestly, I think it was Drew's charge. Yeah. And the reason I say that is, I was standing right there and we were going to Jalen and I were going to switch a ball screen up top and Truzang refused it and went the other way.
Yeah.
I turned around and I looked and there was nobody there. And I saw the back of Truzang's jersey and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
It's we're done.
Yep.
And Drew's been taking charges for us all year long, and the crazy thing about that guy is he's so loose and like has a bunch of fun on the court, but he just moments like don't get to him. That's just part of how his brain works, and so he just stepped up and took it. And people can debate whether or not it was a charge or if he made the right call.
I try to be as unbiased. Sorry to cut you off, but his feet were above. He was in legal guarding position. He took it on the chest. I mean, you're check mark.
Right.
So
it
absolutely,
it just was the moment. The people are like, "Oh, you can't call a charge that late in the game," and I'm like, "Yes, you can." But
yes,
I mean, I agree. Like everything was like lining up. He got there. He's hands up, like he was ready to take it. And I mean, I had a good feeling they were going to call it. But the way that Juzang was playing and the way he was shooting the ball, when I saw the back of his jersey going to the rack, I was like, "We're done."
Tough
like,
cover,
it's over.
man. That kid was good.
Yeah, I mean, he was just making everything. He's shooting 17-footers and
nobody shoots those.
Not hitting the rim. Yeah,
nobody shoots those anymore either. That's what's crazy. He's a mid-range type of kind of old school player, which sounds funny, but like jab and go and pull ups and everybody now is like an analytics guy fall out of his chair if he watched him play. Bad shot, but so obviously you get into overtime. So I agree. I think Andrew's three had a lot of stones because would you guys run that early slip play earlier? You ran it to Drew, they scored, and then he tried to get it to him. They guarded it. They switched it, and then he hit the step back, which was because he's shit. Andrew's a good shooter, but he didn't shoot the whole game.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He was in the game, but he wasn't in a rhythm offensively. So obviously I thought, I was like, when I was calling, I was like, that's ball game.
Yeah.
Here we go. Good job, UCLA. Thank you for coming. And then they come down and tie it or whatever. I can't remember the sequences, but so you get to overtime. You go to Drew, 3 straight times?
Yep, and he
scores every single time.
Bucket every single time.
And that's when I was like, okay, for sure they've shot their wad. It's fucking over with. And they still came back. Would they hit? Did they hit a three that next sequence?
Yeah, we had like a coverage miscommunication with coach. He wanted us.
Did you overhelp on one in the corner?
Me. It wasn't me.
You did that once in the game, so my bad.
No,
but I was good.
You're good. No, that happened. That definitely happened to me once or twice. But
yeah, it happens.
We had a coverage miscommunication, and we went to go double, and they kicked it to freaking Juzang. Yeah, hit a three,
wide open three.
Yeah, and then and then the next time down, I mean, the whole game, it felt like, all right, like, we took their best punch. Like, we're going to break this thing open. It's 15, 20 points, no problem. And every single time, like, they just hung around, man. They're like cockroaches. But, no, I mean, and then Drew, credit to him. He just kept getting bucket after bucket after bucket. And we made a few free throws. And, one thing led to another. And then, obviously, Jalen shot, cut it.
So, what Drew Zhang drives, it's hard to say multiple times fast, and misses, gets it back, puts it in. Do you have any inclination in that situation? I know in the college game you can't advance it. Are you thinking timeout there, Corey, because you took it out? Are you thinking throw ahead and timeout, or as Fewy always told you guys, just get it and go?
I think it's always been get it and go. And if we have time, call timeout, at the advanced spot.
Okay.
So like past half court. So I just got it, turned and threw it to Jalen, and we were like 3 seconds at that point. And so, I mean, if I was the coach, I think coach made the right choice. Just let him go.
Yeah.
But I was fully prepared to play another 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. I as a broadcaster, obviously I was sitting there going, I was ready to go. If there was a timeout, okay, Mo, what do you think they're going to do? You know what I mean? I was already in that mode and then getting into the OT mode. So, what was it like? I made some game winners or whatever, not a clean at the buzzer, but, with 2 seconds left, 1 second left. What's the emotion like during one of those? I want you to explain it to the people listening. I mean, obviously it's crazy, but like, you're never going to forget that feeling.
No, it's just like, I just couldn't explain. Like, people were calling me after the game. Like, I just could not explain the way I was feeling. Yeah. It's just one of the true times where I haven't been able to like express myself, like express what I'm feeling. Yeah. And disbelief was one of it. Like, I was definitely ready to play another overtime, and just so happy for Jalen because I know how much it means to him. Yeah. Like, he is so unique compared to anybody like him who has the talent level that he has. Like, the amount of buy-in he showed to the team and how much he like genuinely cared about Gonzaga when he had every right to not.
Oh, it was tremendous.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
that guy is a stud. And he made it, obviously, just immediate tears, couldn't stop crying for like an hour after the game. And I was just really, really, really happy for him that he can kind of, he had a lot of signature moments, but like his college career is going to be remembered by that, which is pretty special.
He gave a lot of people, credence to being a Gonzaga fan after my UCLA experience, you know what I mean, for our fan base. So he washed that away from everybody. And then he gave people like a special moment, because the sad thing about this year, and obviously the COVID stuff, is nobody got to watch you guys live. It really sucks, because you experienced the kennel. Yeah. And some of these kids, like Jalen hasn't, Andrew hasn't, obviously Drew maybe a little bit, but he was coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
for him to have that opportunity and live up to the hype or whatever and give us that special moment, it's all-time Mount Rushmore Gonzaga moment.
Totally.
It's Casey Calvary, and I'm going way back, was, the tip-in against Florida that kind of started everything. That was kind of the one, and then you can go Jordan Matthews 3, Demetri Goodson's against Western Kentucky, my bank shot, that was a regular season game against Oklahoma State. But that one, obviously, the moment, but just the way the shot went in. And then, like, I'm going to get this framed and signed, is when he jumped up on the table, that famous picture, and it's all you guys like a Renaissance painting.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like this.
It's like the Last Supper painting, man.
It's unbelievable. I'm going to get it blown up. It's going to be in my basement. All you fuckers are going to sign it for me. I don't care where you're playing at. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to figure out a way to get it. And, but for, like I said, for our fan base, it was fantastic, and it just washed away. And now they have the Gonzaga moment for them to fucking shit on and whatever. But, I've wanted to talk to somebody in that moment, obviously, because it was pretty special. It was cool to call, so I got to talk about the Baylor game a little bit, and it's going to be one of those that sting. And I know that, I understand that. You guys think a little bit, you guys are a shot fighter a little bit going into that as far as energy and emotion?
It's tough to say. I really think that, like, I was in a mindset that, like, it didn't matter what happened to me. It didn't matter how much sleep I got the night before.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Well, adrenaline.
Yeah, for sure.
I understand that.
And it definitely didn't help that, like, I think Baylor would have beat the Lakers in the first half of that game. Like, they were just really that good.
Dude, in the first media timeout, I think they were 6 for 10, and you guys were 0 for 3. I mean, they started off as good as you can start, and then they had the offensive rebounds. So for me, as an outside perspective, because, again, being a former player in your team, you don't always want to say, like, hey, this such and such took away from our performance. Outside observer, player's mind as well, it just looked like your guys' legs were gone a little bit.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that for 2 nights or a day and a half that they're just pumping that shot up, obviously, on TV. So they're just sitting there pissed off even more. But, it was just it was one of those games that, obviously you're going to, I'm just giving you some advice. It's going to sting for a while, and you know that. You don't need me to explain that to you, but I just think it looked like you guys were a little bit shot emotionally and physically, but also you sit there and go, well, shit, I lift all year long. I'm a man. I'm ready to fucking compete. I just think maybe that was part of it, but I was obviously not on the floor, not in the locker room. That's all I need to talk about the Baylor game too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't get you on here to be, hey, relive a memory of basketball, because I've lost some big ones. Obviously, UCLA game, I missed a fucking pull up against Texas Tech when we had the lead, ended Ronny Turiaf's career in the NCAA tournament. I lost the state championship going undefeated, so I understand the burn. You know what I'm saying? Those aren't on that stage, but I've been in some locker rooms where it ain't fun afterwards. It's not fun.
No.
And, there's a lot of tears, a lot of emotion, and so I appreciate you sharing what you did. So let's segue into something a little more positive. All right.
Let's do it.
Pre-Gonzaga. So you won 2 state championships. We're at Edmonds. Is it Edmonds?
King's High School,
Kings?
which is located in Edmonds area.
What classification are they?
1A.
Okay. So what AAU club did you play for then to get recruited?
Friends of Hoop.
Oh, okay. Friends of Hoop. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
How long did you play for them?
I think I started there in like 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
And did the
whole thing.
Yeah, I did the whole thing all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really appreciated like the way that we didn't have a shoe deal then, so we weren't like on the EYBL, the circuit or anything, which didn't, help my recruiting, but I think it made up for it in like the way they taught how to play. I feel like, I know you know how it is. You've been to plenty of AAU tournaments where they just roll the ball out and let you go.
It's just trash basketball.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's terrible.
And not only is it horrible like to watch, but like that's not the type of game I thrive in.
Well, and it teaches you how to be selfish in a bad way.
Right,
yeah.
right. I mean, like I'm not the type of guy that can get the ball at the top of the key and take 10 dribbles and break somebody off. Right. So
run a 4 flat or something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not built like that. So the way that we played, we ran a lot of the stuff that we run at Gonzaga, which it helped me transition, but it really showcased the best parts of my game playing for them. So shoe deal or not, like really enjoyed playing there, and it obviously worked. I had plenty of options to go to out of high school. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, who recruited you? Besides Gonzaga, obviously.
My last 3 were, GU and then Notre Dame and Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of schools in the Pac-12 also had like in serious interests and stuff like that. But Notre Dame, Virginia, and GU.
Why Gonzaga?
A lot of different things. I was between
who recruited you first. Sorry,
B Mike.
B Mike.
Oh,
okay,
did. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And he,
Brian Michelson, if everybody's listening, is assistant coach. Played with me at Gonzaga.
I forget I have to do that. So it was between GU and Virginia, and the first off was the style. Like you can't be any more different as playing styles go. Mm-hmm. I mean, Virginia has 50 possessions a game. And
blocker mover,
and it's boring.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it was
terrible. I couldn't play in that.
It was kind of boring to play against. It just was kind of the same thing over and over again. And Gonzaga has just so much stuff that they throw at you. So I like that mentally, the challenge, and loved playing in transition. Loved running up and down the floor. I always pride myself on like being in better shape than the guys I'm playing against. Yeah. That's part of like.
I would agree as an evaluator or somebody who's watched all your whole career. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And then, the other thing was just how close it was to my family. I didn't want to be like in Seattle in the area, but I wanted to, make it for the 4-hour drive across the mountains is nothing.
Yeah.
I can have my own life. I can create my own space. But my parents can come watch me play if they want to. So that was really big. And then, finally it wasn't like I didn't feel like I was sacrificing really anything as far as like the quality goes of the team. Gonzaga had won, and we're just coming off of like that first national championship appearance, and I wasn't sacrificing anything as far as the quality of the team goes. Yeah. Sorry, one more finally. Coach Few from the very beginning was like it's crazy thinking about it now. He like predicted my career basically for me as he was giving me my recruiting pitch. He's like, I think you're going to be a leader on this team. I think you're going to be the guy for us. You're going to have a 3 or 4 year career. Mm-hmm. Like you're everything that we think a Zag should be about, and we want you in our program. Your character fits our program perfectly. Like you're going to have plenty of opportunity to move on to the next level. And, as a 17-year-old, I was like, great, that's awesome. And then now looking back at 22, I'm word for word was fit perfectly.
Spot on.
Yeah.
I didn't know B Mike recruited you. That's interesting. I always thought it was Tommy, but I always think that Tommy recruits everybody. But obviously B Mike, has that ability, or he, he wouldn't be there. So you get to Gonzaga. You started your freshman year, right? If my memory serves. Mm-hmm. What was that like? 'Cause did you have a foot injury in high school?
Yep. Yeah. So I broke my foot in high school. And
when? Junior or senior? Because you committed junior year, right?
Yeah. So played my first half of my senior year, already committed here, broke my foot in February. So I wasn't really working out or working hard until June.
Oh, wow.
So, I was probably a week and a half into my workout, my like full 100% workout when I got here for the summer, which was nerve-wracking.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was really nerve-wracking.
Because you want to make a good first impression.
Exactly. And high standards, first national championship, bunch of guys coming back. Yep. And thankfully I did. Like, I remember I looked at some stats probably 3 weeks into our fall practice, start of practice, and I was shooting like 65% from three. I was just killing it. rim felt like a hula hoop. Like it was sweet. And yeah, I started for the first few games in a Zag uniform and played in some really cool environments at a really young age, which, I'll never forget.
Yeah, no, it's playing as a freshman is fun on a good team. I came off the bench my freshman year. We had 6 seniors, so we were loaded. But it was like X factor. Like it didn't matter if I played well or not. So I just let it fucking rip. And you know what I mean? And like if I had a good game, everybody's, oh yeah. And if I had 4 points,
yeah, he's a freshman.
Yeah, exactly. It was great. So freshman year is always, to me, is one of the fonder memories because you just don't fucking know anything. You're just kind of just going out there and having a good time and playing. And, and you walk into, and you have good vets on your team, which you probably did. I can't even remember. What fucking group was that?
Senior class that year was Silas.
Yeah,
and
good dudes.
Jonathan Williams.
Yeah, J3. Yeah. So those, you had good vets that, probably obviously showed you the ropes. Were you freshman year that year?
No,
you got it.
I didn't even make the all-league freshman team.
You didn't make the all-freshman team? What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, and we had in like our
who made it then?
Who was it? It was
it's good. Pepperdine Cat.
Yep. Yeah. Colby Rossi made it.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's really good. Kid out of Portland had 2 freshmen that like played a lot and like
he's got all the reps and stuff.
Yeah, so they made it, and then Eli Scott.
Oh yeah, he was a good player. Back to the basket, kind of ball hog type player.
Yeah, 5th year guy coming back.
Oh, he's gonna come back. Why not? Well, that doesn't make sense to me. Kind of. Well, actually, LMU was better this year. Their style was better. Yeah,
sure.
Their style was better. That I think Coach Dunlap was a little bit too much in the pass.
Dinosaur.
You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of just like felt bad for those kids. So your freshman year, you don't make the freshman team. I still have this text. Maybe I'll read it. But so I seen you after. When did I see you?
After our last game in Vegas.
Yes, and you came up to me, and you asked for some advice. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was fantastic. Cause it's like, hey, what do you think? And I remember I went and read it, and getting you back on the show, so I went and read it, and everything that you asked me to evaluate, and I read back what I wrote to you, you've improved on. So it's pretty cool. But like, the reason why I'm saying this is cool that a freshman like yourself who started, was on a good team, high level recruit, won 2 state championships, blah, 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 had the balls to come up and be like, hey, what do I need to work on? Because I think a lot of young players don't have the gall to look in the mirror as a player. And you understand that you have to do it every single offseason and really ask yourself what you want to get better at. I think a lot of kids think that just because you get older, you get better, if that makes sense. Yeah, because I remember I put in there, because when you first came in, you were more a straight line drive guy. Yeah. Was that because of your foot, or was that just?
Well, I mean, my foot, number one, I had horrible like ankle mobility, hip mobility. I couldn't move. Like my defense was horrible because I just couldn't sit in a stance, like, physically sit, and so that was part of it. Is like the only way I could move fast was in a straight line.
You were a straight line drive and then like a spot up.
Yep, total spot up.
But I remember you were saying, like, well, what do you need to work on? And I was like, well, you need to get a floater, which you've added. Then it was like, you need to you shot a hard ball. You remember that?
Flat ball for sure.
You did. It was a hard ball, and it, like you would be on line, but if it hit the rim, it'd fucking come off.
Yep.
Then you obviously fixed that. How hard was that for you to fix? Was that just reps?
Yeah, it was reps and like.
Not jumping as high?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. I mean, it was timing. Like a little bit of like how when you release the ball, like I was coming down when I would release it, and so that I would shoot a hard ball because of that. And then like, I would go home and I'd shoot with my dad in the gym, in like in our high school gym. Like if I missed it short or if he thought it was too flat, he would like chuck the ball the other end of the court and I would go get it. Yeah,
I like that.
So it pounded that lesson into me pretty quick.
Does your dad played?
Yeah, he played in college, Division II in college. Yeah,
right.
SPU.
Oh, Seattle Pacific. Oh, wow. Did he coach you growing up?
He was involved. He did like a lot of he kind of would like help out, coach and stuff. But he never was.
Oh, my dad coached me. I was going to say if we were both coaches' sons in that regard, we had some war stories.
Some stories.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, that's why he he knew that like the best way for me to go was to keep his mouth shut, and it was really hard for him because he wanted to coach me so bad, but he's got to fail and learn on his own. So I'm super thankful for my dad for doing that and realizing that was the best way to get me better.
Yeah, that's interesting. So last year you put your name in, right? Mm-hmm. How'd that process go for you?
It was fun, man. It was really fun. Like it was like, the tournament was canceled, so I didn't get the full experience of being able to like, go from like travel to Boston, Philly, Detroit, Cleveland, like work out, do the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I saved a lot of like miles and a lot of like exhaustion, but I had 2-3 interviews every day with these teams, just
Zoom
Zoom, like virtual interviews, and really fun to like hear their feedback. And like you mentioned earlier, like I've always been a guy who could look in the mirror and like really evaluate myself as close to objectively as possible. And so hearing their advice was a huge tool for me this summer, working on my own game and trying to get better at the things I needed to do in order to fit in the NBA this coming year.
What was the biggest thing they said last year coming into this year?
Yeah, it was defense, honestly, ball handling and defense. Yeah. He's like, you're an NBA shooter right now. You can always get better at that, so keep working. Mm-hmm. But, shooting in the NBA right now will get you in the door. I mean, you see that with a lot of guys who shoot the ball well. They'll, get spotty playing time here and there. But the guys who can shoot and then also guard their position, effectively, you don't have to lead the league in steals, but you just got to guard. That's what's going to keep you on the floor. That's where, the guys who can really shoot it, are able to play still because they can guard.
So, ball handling. Did you lose weight coming into the season?
A little bit. Just kind of leaned out.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Like, when the season started, I thought you lost weight, like, in a good way. Mm-hmm. You look thinner and, like, leaner and quicker. Mm-hmm. And I said that to Huddy on that. I was like, I think Corey lost, like, 5 pounds. Was it about 5 pounds? Yeah, just they always recommend that, too, when, your career, once you get in the NBA, like, you start a certain way, and they always say come in a little bit lighter each year, especially if you play long years. Obviously helps the joints and stuff, but I thought it was an excellent decision because you looked faster. You looked way more agile this year than you did in the past. I think it allowed you to open up your game, especially on the dribble drive stuff. You know what I mean? Because I think before, you could get to the rim, you were strong enough to power through guys, but now you were strong with the strength still, but you're now doing your Euros. You had change of direction, then you were making floaters this year. Yep. And then you had pull-ups too, like which nobody shoots, but they're still good shots. Totally. Like your 12-footers, sometimes you pivot, and then look at the post and then you'd shoot it. But I was always wondering that. I knew I was right, but I didn't want to say it. I was like, man, Corey looks like he lost some weight. Designed. I mean, I totally would try to like lean out and come into the season a little bit lighter. And I mean, it helped a ton, like year in and year out. Like even if I kind of gained it back during the season, like to show up a little bit lighter, always helped me, kind of just get a leg up, I guess. So what year in your whole career did they ask you? Because you talked about it in your recruitment process. He was like, "Hey, you're going to be a leader in this team." I thought your leadership skills were fantastic your whole career. I think sophomore year on. When did the team and Tommy and Fuey sit you down and say, hey, we need you to be the vocal leader, even if you're not the leading scorer? I'm talking earlier in your career. Mm-hmm. What year was that for your
That was summer between my sophomore and junior year. So halfway through my career. Okay. And that was literally because, like, I mean, if you remember that year, like, Perk was out, Snacks left, Zach Norvell left. Obviously, BC and Rui were going to be gone no matter what. Yep. We had Philip. I mean, Philip was coming back, but he was kind of testing the water, doing his whole thing.
He was halfway out the door.
Right.
Mentally.
Oh, for sure. And then Greg Foster transferred.
Forgot about Greg.
Yeah. I mean,
where'd he go? Do you know?
St. Joe's.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, playing over there. And then... And I mean, just kind of like looking, and then everyone who was back. So like Joel came back, Killian was kind of halfway in, halfway out, and there was a period of time, like probably, maybe in like August, where we had like 6 guys on our roster.
Oh wow!
Who like I was the only person who was officially returning, who had played like serious minutes.
Yeah, meaningful minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like I'm looking around and I'm like, we can't even put together like a pickup game, you know. And then Coach was like, people pulled me aside. He's like, don't worry, like we'll get a team around you, but like whoever we bring in here, like they got to be able to learn quickly, and it's kind of your partly your job is to help them learn quickly. We brought smart guys in, and it obviously ended up working out with the team we had, but there was a long period of time where I was like, me and Joel were the only ones around.
That's crazy.
Just no one around.
That's wild to even think like, because one of the biggest things when I was playing is like guys always stuck around, did summer school, and then we played pickup.
Yep.
And then even the older guys who just got done or still playing pro come back, and then, you know, pickup games are really good, and that's how you kind of measure yourself. So not to have that in the summer is wild.
Yeah.
What'd you do for workouts? You just go against each other?
Obviously, yeah, I mean, we just kind of like
indies and stuff like that, individuals?
Yeah, individuals, and then like you said, just like we had, you know, David Stockton, Mike Stockton, Gary Bell came back, Eric McClellan came back, and so we had enough to play pickup at night, but like it was hard to, you know, develop the chemistry that you have.
Yeah, that's how you get it. You get a lot of it in the summer.
And you know, like the summers around here with your boys are awesome. Yeah, it's awesome times. So like not having that was difficult.
So last year, you guys finished 30-2 previous.
Yeah. Yeah.
How good did you feel about going to that tournament? Because it was going to be #1 seed, and we were going to be in Spokane, right?
Yeah, we were going to be in Spokane. The women were going to be in Spokane. It was going to be crazy.
Yeah, it was going to be wild. I was worried that the pressure, not that you guys couldn't handle, but just I think Fewy was like, didn't even want to be in Spokane.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Just because of all the pressure and all the shit you guys would have had to go through and getting tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was just such deflating coming after that West Coast Conference. Obviously, everybody knows that when the West Coast Conference finished, then COVID stuff hit a year later, or, you know, a year ago. But I was just like, man, that team was – people forget about that 30-2 team, and it was a wide open field that year. And you guys were playing good at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Like we had – I can't remember who else was kind of at the top of the heap with us. I can't
even recall to be honest. It was a wide ass open field.
Yeah, that's the one thing is like we were playing really good leading up to that point. So I mean, I was feeling really good about the kind of games we were going to have in the tournament.
Well, it just sucks. Obviously, you know, we're Captain Obvious here, but for like guys like Killian, they didn't get another opportunity in the tournament. Who was such a good Zag for us, international Zag that, you know, always played through injuries, had some shitty luck. Always put the team first. There's times when he could have fucking said, "Fuck this."
Yeah,
like,
totally.
You know,
he's good enough. He's
good enough to be like, "Fuck this." You know, like I'm just gonna take 6 months off, fully rehab, put my name in the draft the next year.
Yeah,
you know, and
people don't realize that he, like, after my freshman year was probably his best year. Mm-hmm. He had like a hip injury during the tournament. Like, didn't really play in our game against. That freshman year game against Florida State, we lost in the Sweet 16. He didn't play.
Yeah, it was the one that he got hurt in the fucking warm-up line or whatever, right?
Just like random ghost injury. It was crazy, but he was killing him, and he was supposed to be like a late first-round pick, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
And he decided to come back, and I think that, I mean, for better or for worse, I mean, I think he really enjoyed the rest of his time in Spokane, but like obviously.
It hurt his draft stock.
I mean, it really did, and he could have left, and he could have, you know, made a.
It'd have been justified too.
Totally, and he decided to come back, and for all the shit that he went through, to like not have that senior year tournament where he would have played really well, I think. Yeah, it hurt.
Well, the year before was that the one where you went like 16-19 in the WCC tournament, like from 3 or some shit?
Yeah, no, he didn't miss. Yeah, he literally didn't miss.
Wild. It was like this guy is putting one of the best tournaments we've ever seen. In his Zag uniform. But yeah, people forget about Killian just because they didn't have that send-off, you know, tournament moment or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And that team too. So I think I read a stat. You were 126-11 in your career.
Sounds about right, yeah.
It's fucking wild, dude. That's a lot of wins, man.
Lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I think.
Can you name the 11 losses? I mean...
I bet you if you gave me a little bit, I could totally get close.
126 fucking wins, man. It's
and I got after the tournament was over, someone played me an audio clip of Jim Nance on the like national broadcast. He's like, "There's been 10,000 players who have played Division I basketball in the last 30 years or something that have played at least 100 games. And out of those 10,000 players, no one has a higher winning percentage
than you.
Than me.
That's
I was
wild.
like, and also like I'm a big Jim Nance guy. Like I watch all the stuff he does.
Oh,
And just
he's
to hear
awesome.
that like come out of his mouth, I was like, oh my god.
I got to meet him about 3 years ago, and because we were doing the games, and
Right.
it was like, oh hey Adam, and it was Grant Hill. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool experience.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted to do the selfie, be like, hello friends.
Yeah,
I didn't want to be an
corny,
asshole, but
yeah,
but I was like,
yeah.
this is fucking Jim Nance, man. Like
Yeah.
goat fucking
The GOAT announcer.
Yeah, goat announcer of every sport.
I mean, he does football, he does golf, he does basketball. I'm sure he can do hockey. Like it's just he's got it covered.
Yeah, he's perfect. When I saw that stat though, I was just like, fuck man, Corey's won a lot of fucking games at this place. Wild.
Yeah.
What's your I know this is kind of a cheesy question, but people like to hear it. Like, what's your Fewy? Do you have a funny Fewy story? I mean, I have some, and I'm waiting for him to come on because I'm going to embarrass the shit out of him on purpose. And it's not anything bad.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, because I'll say this. He is so much different with you guys than he was with the older guys. And I mean that, not that he was bad, but he's such more relaxed.
Loosened up, I bet.
Oh, my God, man.
Imagine.
Like, it's wild. Like, the shit you guys do and, your fuck around stuff before the game and all that. So it's cool. It's a different generation. I'm not a get off my lawn guy. But he would have never
let that slide.
We had to wear the same shoes damn near. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like, and they were like always, making sure we had the, same gear. Like, you guys just kind of like just show up to practice, laissez-faire.
I'll wear a headband today. Like, you didn't say anything.
Just, is he always late to practice too?
Yep.
Does it drive you nuts?
Zag time, it drove me nuts.
Drove me up the fucking wall.
This is what would happen is we would show up, practice starts at 3. We're there at 2:30, getting taped, whatever, like just a normal day.
Yeah.
And we're out at 2:50 and we're getting shots up, getting loose, right? And the assistants kind of start wandering out and they don't know where Coach Few is either. And anybody who's played here knows. And then you start you start getting a sweat going and you're like getting your shots up and you start feeling good. You're ready for practice. And then like 3:15 rolls around, 3:20 rolls around, 3:30 rolls around, and he's finally shows up at 3:30, and then he puts you in another warm up.
Why isn't everybody getting shots up?
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, we've been shooting this whole time.
It's my third workout.
Well, for me, type 1 diabetic, so I had a routine even for practices. And so I used to just be like, and sometimes, we would go he'd be late and then we'd go into a drill, and I'd have a low blood sugar or it'd be high. And I'm like, well, fuck, if you get here on time, my insulin reacted a certain way. And that was the only thing that would get him to kind of be like, okay, I'll just try to show up. But he used to show up, 30 to 40 minutes late. And he wouldn't even have a practice plan. He'd sit there and write the practice plan down. Yeah. So you're sitting there like, what are we going to do? Do they still do rebound efficiency, like where they don't tell you? They don't do that with you guys anymore? They used to do it where they'd pick 3 guys out and the manager would sit there with a clipboard. And if you didn't go 90% offense or defense to the glass during practice, but they don't tell you who's that day, you have to like run or something.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was awful.
That sounds horrible.
For practice.
Yeah, like
90%.
What we do now is during games, like the managers or like the GAs will track like
rebound effort or whatever.
Yeah, everybody. So like if you need to go an average of 70% of the time. Like if you're a guard, you need to run back to half court.
Yeah.
Or if you're a guy like me, you need to crash the boards like at least 70% of the time. And it's not like you got to run if you don't do it. It's just like if you're not there, like
you might not play.
Get
but
there. Like you got to start rebounding more.
Ours was 90, which was almost unattainable because
That's
sometimes you're like, you're like, fuck, I'm not gonna go for this. Like it caromed off the other side of the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like we would have like one of our managers like, tell us like who's on the list sometimes. So then you would just take like one step, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You better mark that fucking thing down. So yeah, it's funny how some of the stuff changes. But like I said, man, he's so much more lax and loose with you guys. I mean that in a good way. And that's a credit to him.
Yeah.
Because you guys are better teams than we were, and you got more dudes, you know what I mean? Higher level recruits. Yeah. We were kind of diamonds in the rough type dudes.
And he always what he tells me, or what he told me when I was getting here, when I kind of asked about that, like I kind of noticed people would like stroll in a little late, and it was pretty chill. And he's like, we're going to major in the majors and we're going to minor in the minors.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point.
He's like, what does it mean? What does it matter if we start practice 20 minutes late? I mean, obviously for, you know, a type 1 diabetic that matters, but like for people that, you know, like me, that doesn't have that, you know, what does it matter if we practice 20 minutes later than we're supposed to, like, as long as we win on the court?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and like
it's a good point.
Yeah, he had the same like outlook for like a lot. One of the most common questions I get when I go back home or when I'm talking to people who aren't familiar with the program is like, what's Coach Few think of like partying or drinking?
Yeah.
And I wonder if this is the same for you as it is for us. But
he never really harped on it.
Yeah, he didn't really care. He was like, listen,
make good decisions.
Yeah, as long as I'm not getting a call the next day about some dumb shit you did.
Same here. Yeah.
I don't care. Like, and you play well.
Yep.
Do whatever.
Well, he understood college kids,
Yeah.
and I think, you know, like the drinking aspect, like is part of college life, but also, you know, if you're a high level athlete and you're not a dumbass, you're not going to do it very much during the season,
right?
If at all,
right?
And so I think if you recruit those type of kids, not knuckleheads, it polices itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you recruit a bunch of idiots, then you probably gonna be like have to have curfews and stuff. But yeah, he was always just like, you know, just make sure you're good at practice, but he never really even said anything. I mean, we used to party, obviously, but we had a group too. You know, we had goals like you guys, and we were good teams that we, you know, okay, guys, probably about a month, let's take it easy.
Let's
or,
chill out, right?
you know, if we win the West Coast Conference, we may have a few beers if we're, you know, something like that. Like, okay, that's fine. But then after the season, it was wild. After the season, those first 2 weeks are a fun one. You're just like, holy shit. Hopefully I survive and fucking remember how to play basketball and get done with this. All right. So like what is the biggest, like your greatest moment you think as a Zag? Obviously the Final Four, but what's like, what memory sticks out the most? And even if it's something in general, you know, because everybody has, you know, certain years, certain games, certain teammates.
Mm-hmm.
Like what most sticks out to you?
Is this more personal or like the greatest? I think one of the greatest. I'll do one of each. The greatest team moment would be our Maui win against Duke.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's not really even close. Like it was like, I mean, literally like. I had to remind people, like, they were like, oh, what do you think of Duke, man?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you going to handle Zion Williamson?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, listen, like, Duke's got to deal with us.
Yeah.
Right? And, I mean, we obviously made the game a lot tighter down the stretch than we needed to be, but we were up 20 at one point against Duke, who everyone thought was unbeatable, you know? And to have that win, also that tournament's just incredible. It's the best tournament.
It is. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean everything from
fantastic.
Like where you stay to the gym to the history.
And then the atmosphere is. It's like playing a high school game, but on steroids. Right. And, you know, it's just hot in that gym, and the fucking fans are crazy. They all chant together. Like, it's like a high school game. Yeah. It's so awesome.
And the rims, like, every shot goes in.
Yes. Yeah. Soft rims. Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
So that was that. And then to win it and, you know, celebrate in Maui, my family was there, and it was great. And then personally, it was this year against Virginia, I think. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it was what? I think I had 9 threes and
oh, yeah, you were on fire.
Yeah, just crazy,
just
right?
Going crazy.
And, I'll never forget it. Like before we went out, like I told the team, like, listen, like I love, like, I mean, I'm not nothing against Coach Bennett, but he told me I wasn't good enough to play.
Oh, there you go.
You know, so I'm like, let's go kick their ass.
Yeah.
And you know, from the moment I hit my first one, I was like, okay, he's in trouble.
Feeling good.
Yeah, I just really felt good. And
that's such a great feeling.
Yeah.
Old guys like me miss that feeling, so fucking keep bottling that shit up, man.
I know. It's just when there's moments where you're just like, everything slows down and you're totally in the zone.
Just
like,
fucking anything goes off your hands going in.
And so that was, and then, you know, that was one of the only games this year where fans were allowed to come. So my family was there and people were in the crowd, and I was feeding off the energy. And it felt good to stick it to Coach Bennett specifically. Again, nothing against him, but
yeah, no, he's a competitor. He would understand
totally
the viewpoint on that, and appreciate you sharing that. I want to know a little bit about Jalen. Like, me watching him, and you touched on it earlier, he gave so much to this program when he didn't have to. Was, like, you know, pretty cool to watch from afar. I think he's going to be better in the NBA than in college because the floor is going to be spaced. I'm just trying to figure out what the comps are for him. Is he a Jason Kidd with a better jumper? Or is he like a Bradley Beal that could morph into that? You know what I mean? But a little bit smaller, but like the same athleticism.
Yeah.
But like, how was he? Because I always found it funny. They never like interviewed him much. Did they try to shield him a little bit?
Yeah, I mean,
You know
a
what I'm
little
saying?
bit.
Just
Like, I
'cause
mean,
he's a kid. He's a young kid.
Yeah, young kid, and like,
kid.
and like, I've had way more media experience than he has, and like, it's just.
You know, I'm not, and that's not a knock on his character or him
no.
being able to speak. I'm just
Totally.
saying, I think they did a good job of just letting him kind of be a kid
Let
and
him
enjoy
hoop.
himself. Yeah, because all that shit's going to come his way.
Totally. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can start from this whole thing is like, he turned down like $600,000 to play in the G League
It's crazy.
to come here and play. Like a lot of
Good for him, man.
A lot of the pros that come back here and play in Europe would look at him in the face like, "Are you stupid? Are you dumb? Like, why wouldn't you go do that? You get started on your career early. Like, the college season doesn't matter. You're only going to hurt your stock. Yada yada, whatever."
Yeah.
But he somehow like managed to like come here, have a blast. I think he would have told you he had a blast. It was like probably he's told us this is the most fun, like energetic, like weird, quirky, whatever team that I've been a part of. So thank you for that. And then he's also improved his draft stock. Like he went from like being like an 8th, 9, whatever to top 3.
I think he's the case study for why to go to college. Because me personally, I think it should be 0 or 2. That's just me. I think if you come, you should stay for 2. I don't think you have to come. If you're good enough to want to go, you can fucking go. So I think the one and done kind of ruins the college
experience.
Yeah, and it makes it to farm system kind of. So I think if you come, you get 2 years. I think that's what the WNBA does. But anyway, I think him coming here and having the moment that he had, the UCLA stuff, but then like for the national scene, and then if you want to go into the further dollars, people know Jalen Suggs' name right away compared to what's the kid that went to the G League for the Ignite?
Jalen Green.
Yeah. So like those are the two comparables. And I think playing with you, here's the biggest thing that a one and done has to do. And I thought what Tommy told me this one time, and I think it was fantastic. We were having beers after one of your guys' games this year. And I was asking about Jalen because I was like, fuck, I love the kid. And on the radio, I was like, fuck, like, I wish I played with him, like, coaching him, you could tell. And then you guys that get to play with him, it's like, fuck, he just makes all the willing passer, gets in the paint, looks like he's having fun, doesn't bitch, coach, blah, 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 all that good stuff.
Yep.
And Tommy was like, the best thing his dad said, he wants to play in an NBA-type system with other good players instead of going to somewhere where he gets to shoot 25 times a night, gets his 22, maybe volume, you know what I mean? And then, he has no real friends when he leaves, you know what I'm saying? So I think him doing that obviously was a testament to the culture of Gonzaga, but him as a kid as well. And so, yeah, I just always wanted to know, like, somebody that played with him. Because I only talked to him for a quick second once, and we obviously couldn't be – and I'm not the type of guy that just –
hang around.
Well, yeah, and I know, I'm the radio guy compared, you know what I'm saying, for him now. 'Cause all you guys were, like, in fucking diapers when I played, right? So it's a little bit different, but, I think he has, just such a fantastic, bright future. But he just seemed like – he was like just fit perfect for you guys, like fit around the guys.
Yeah, I mean, he was super low maintenance where there was no problems where like, I mean, there might have been one time like
not getting the rock enough. That's fair though. If you're a good player.
You kidding me? Like I have with me. Like I want the rock more, like of course. But the thing with him is like he was so, and we found this perfect balance as a team. I think Coach struggled a little bit more with it, but we found this perfect balance of a team of like, this kid's like a firecracker. Like he's so energetic and like so much like pent up energy. And we found this balance of like, having him on a leash, but the leash was super long. Yeah. Like we knew when to corral him. We knew when to like, settle him down a little bit and like, don't let him do anything stupid. But the reason why he's so good is because of how much passion he plays with.
Yeah, no, that kid sold out like on loose balls. He rotated, tried to take charges. Like, hey, it's easy for a kid with such a bright future to be like, fuck it, dude. I mean, for real. And make it look like he was later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, you play.
Totally. I mean, there's little things that you can do that like make it look like, it wasn't your fault or whatever, but
fake hustle stuff.
Yeah, fake hustle stuff. Totally. But I mean, Jalen is like, that's the one thing that coaches told me before I met Jalen was that like he's a winner. Like Jalen's a winner. That's why he's coming here, because he wants to win and do it the right way. And he's one of those guys that's like, if you like play well and you have a good night or whatever, but you don't do it the right way, it just doesn't like sit right. It doesn't sit right with him. He wanted that full sense of like, doing it the right way, winning, and then obviously made his draft stock better by coming here and playing the way he did too. So it's big time for him. Yeah,
I mean, there were some games. I remember the BYU game at home. You guys were doing 3 different ball screen coverages with him on the top. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting there, I was like, I've never seen that with a freshman that Huey had that type of trust, but it obviously shown that he was such a high Q, high level player. But I think in the next level, he's going to have more opportunities.
The player comp that I like kind of think he's close to, I always say Drew Holiday.
That's a good point.
And I mean, he can guard. He's super athletic. He's super shifty going downhill and stuff like that. I think he's got to put together his jumper a little bit more.
It's got to be more consistent.
Right, for sure.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
that's the easy fix. You just rep. And,
you just stand there and you shoot.
Yeah, you just shoot all day long. And then I think layup package has got to get better. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Finishing.
Yeah, and that's everybody's at that age is going to hear that, but that's something you can develop. I think he needs to get over the cross street with John, for a week or something, and and John can show him that stuff a little bit and just give him some of that.
People. I mean, it's crazy how much. I mean, I'm not saying Jalen ever did this, but like John, the short shorts, like the nice haircut, rolls up to the game in the minivan with his kids. Like you don't like realize how much that guy knows and how.
Have you ever been to a workout with? You've played with him, right?
That's what I spent this summer doing. Was just working out with him.
Yeah, I went to a couple, and he did a point guard one, and he talked for like 10 minutes on the different types of spin that you have to put on when a guy cuts. Yep. And it was fucking crazy to me. So I always just hit the guy and he figures it out when he catches. But he was like, okay, if he has a step on him, and he needs to use the other side of the rim, you got to put a little backspin on it so it comes back to him.
It hits the ground and checks up.
Exactly.
Can't steal anything. Can't steal it.
Yes, and it was just like, holy shit, all right, this is what a Hall of Famer is.
Yep.
He used to come to our practices because he was about 4 years removed when he first retired when I was a freshman.
Yep.
And we had a guy named Blake Stepp who got drafted in the second round by Timberwolves my senior, so he's a good player. Yeah. And he used to just bust Blake's ass. And he was like 4 years removed from playing. Like he'd get off the 10 speed, never stretch. He'd do his little warm up. John always does. He'd just come in. Our second unit, as I was on the second unit, we would just kick the shit out of the first unit.
Oh, he would play with you guys?
Oh, he'd play with us.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, he'd play. He'd just come in and fucking play. He was like, all right, because like we do it before the West Coast Conference or the tournament. So Huey would have him come in and he'd play. He'd be like, all right, let's go. And he would just bust everybody's ass.
Unbelievable.
Underneath screens, whack.
Yep.
Then obviously the ball screen stuff. And then like if you cut and you had a step, he'd throw right by that guy's ear. You'd lay it up before the guy even saw.
Yep.
And then like that was, it was a little more physical, freedom of movement. So he'd foul the shit out of you and fucking take that thing and go score. You know what I mean? But like, he used to, like poor Blake, a great player, but he was just like, dude, this guy hasn't played in 4 years. He's 44 and kick this shit out of him all the time.
And even still, like this summer, I would go play and like when we.
No, he still plays.
He still plays. He's 50 something, and he's still playing. And like he's not obviously like he can't compete with people like athletically anymore. Yeah. But I mean, he's still got it up here. Like he makes all the passes. He sees everything.
Yeah. And his jumper's wet. That's what people don't realize.
It's funky looking. It's a
slingshot. Yeah, it's a slingshot.
Yeah, he's got it.
But it goes in. But yeah, it's wild to think like all of the, some good players obviously, but like there's a NBA Hall of Famer like across the street, like original Dream Teamers.
No.
Like,
yeah,
as an asset, as a and he's so welcoming to all of us ex-Zags on picking his brain on stuff.
Yeah, he for someone that's that smart and like has the right to kind of just like hang out and not really do anything. He's so like he was huge for me this summer. Like I called him like on the way to or like when in a point of the season where I had like a game where I was like at 12 and then 13 and then 11 points, wasn't shooting it great. Called John and like he's like, yeah man, but like we wanted to talk to you. Let's meet. And
it's great.
Advice, boom.
I think I'm going to get him on. I know John well as well, so hopefully I can get him on the show. But he's helped me out as well in the past with some business advice, things of that nature too. But just having the warehouse, what he's done for Spokane community, like sports wise, gym space, it's wild.
Yeah, I mean,
that's maybe a break even place.
Yeah, I'm not even like,
you know what I'm saying,
in touch with that side of it, but yeah.
All right. Well, I got to tell you one story, and I got to make it public. And I went and talked to you after, and you probably know what I'm talking about. So, to end the show, I've been a big fan of yours, Corey. You've known this. I've always appreciated, especially like we talked about after that freshman year, you came up to me and said, hey, what do I need to work on? And as a former player and coach's kid and somebody that, professes to know the game and gets paid to call games, that gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. It does, because I like when guys are self-made players. You're a self-made player. I love it. It makes me happy. It makes me excited about things. So the way you've improved your career has been fascinating to me, because at first you were a fucking, just like I said, a straight line drive guy and a spot up. I didn't think you had any chance to go laterally at the NBA level. I thought you shot it too hard of a ball. I thought you jumped too high in your jumper. I was that guy. And then every single year you made significant improvements to your game, and now you're going to be a lottery pick. How do you feel about that? I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, honestly, and I'm not trying to embarrass you.
No, it's all good.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's really fascinating. You were a straight line drive guy, and I know you had the foot injury stuff, and you always, as a player, you always like, well, fuck, I wasn't that like that, but you were. You were a straight line drive guy in a spot up, and you've turned yourself into, I can go by guys off the dribble, I can change directions, I can float game. You added a layup package. Okay. Yeah. And then now what'd you shoot from three this year? 47?
Yeah, it was,
you're at one time you were flirting with 50, 40, 90.
50, yeah, no, I was.
Or 50, 59.
90.
It was wild.
Yeah, so I think.
With volume.
I think I finished at like 44.
Which is good still.
Yeah, but like about halfway through the season, I was probably at.
You were at
47.
Yeah, 48. You were flirting, like I said, and it was volume. You weren't shooting one or two a game. You were shooting 4 a game at least.
Right. Yeah, and I think the whole thing just has to do with, like, I heard this saying, who said it? It was Duncan Robinson for the Heat, and he's got a crazy, amazing story. Like, he like a D3 guy, transferred to Michigan, played in the G League. Now he's going to make big money for the Heat.
Yeah.
He says that you overestimate what you can do in a day, but you underestimate what you can do in a month. So what he means by that is, like, every day you go to the gym and there's times you don't feel like you're getting anything done. You're not getting any better. Something's frustrating. But then you look back a month, 2 months, 3 months, and you think about how much better you got. You just, like, all of a sudden just sometimes, like, clicks like that. You're like, wow, I'm just so much better. Like, where did this come from? And I think that kind of attitude, without knowing that phrase, that attitude really helped me. Like, my May, June, and July, I think, was probably the best months out of anybody that's played here. I just feel like that I was able to kind of get the most out of those months. Yeah. And it's a combination of what I did here, working out with John across the street, going home and picking people's brains and talking to people like you about what I need to get better at. But it was really just it was consistency, it was hard work, and it was not thinking my shit doesn't stink. That really kind of helped me develop into the player I turned into.
Well, I think it's going to obviously help you at the next level. I think that's why you've been one of the best leaders we've ever had. And I mean that. I've played around some good leaders, and I wasn't even close to the leader you were in the locker room. You could just tell you had the ear of the players. You had the trust of the coaches. You could tell guys respected you. So from watching from afar, man, I've been a big fan, been fantastic your whole career. I think you're going to be a lottery pick. That's what everybody's projecting. I think it's going to be great. Hopefully you land in a place, you obviously you're not going to care, but hopefully you get like Pop or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a team like that, or you can use your skill set, and really space the floor. But like I said, man, if you told me freshman year coming in, and this is not a knock, and this is not trying to make you feel bad, but Corey's going to be a good 4-year player, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I mean that.
Totally.
You turn yourself into an NBA prospect. It's crazy, and it's self-made. And I love self-made players, so I'm excited for you. And I referenced this earlier. So this last story I got to tell about Corey Kispert, because I'm going to keep embarrassing him talking about him.
Should have never came on.
So my nephew is an IEP kid. And so I remember, I obviously said I came in, thank you. But so me and my sister, his mom, and my nephew, he's an 8th grader, he played in a basketball tournament. It was right when like phase 2 ended. The states were opening up to go play.
You could play tournaments, yeah.
So his team hadn't played in 4 or 5 months. Okay, so my daughter's team, we've been going to Idaho back and forth and Boise and allowing us, but his team didn't have the opportunity, so they finally get to play. So we play a tournament at the same time in Boise. So, okay, obviously we ride together. So my nephew's sitting behind me, and he's like, hey, uncle, like Corey Kispert sent me a video. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, Corey Kispert sent me a video. And sure enough, he opens up the phone. And I thought it was going to be like, hi, I'm Corey Kispert. Go Zags, And it was so cool, Corey. He sent you a letter, and he asked you like 3 questions about basketball. I think it was one about Larry Bird,
Yep.
Kevin McHale,
Yep.
And like he liked the Celtics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And just the fact, when I watched the video, it was so personable, and you meant everything that you said, and you took your time. It like gave me and my sister a little tear in our eyes. So I always wanted to thank you publicly for doing that. I remember I came in afterwards and thank you after the game for doing that. But like he was so excited about that, and it was just a cool like little family thing. Because I was like, like, hey bud, like Corey Kispert, like, and he was just like so hyped before that tournament that you sent him that video. So I just want to let everybody know, like, you're a great basketball player, always been a great dude. I wish you the best. Keep coming back and helping out these younger players. I think that's the biggest thing that's kind of been lost with Zags, and I'm going to say that to every single one I interview. Come back for a week, help out the younger generation a little bit, but you're a true Zag, fabulous leader. I've loved watching your progression as a player, like really have. I think you're going to be fantastic in the league, and I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I found a home in Spokane, and I can't wait to come to many Hoop Fests over the next couple of years.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Perimeter with Adam Morrison is brought to you in partnership with Speak Studios and Mercedes of Spokane.